All right, I guess we are finally streaming here again. So, let me figure out why I have no video here. Guess I must have turned the camera off, but I don't see that being the case. Nope, looks like I've got it. Cool. All right, well, here we are. We're going to work on this fine lady here, and let me just make sure that the others are all good. I am live streaming. No respect. Okay, so let me find this particular drummer. This is this woman here. I'm going to just test. I think we did not finish with her. So I'm going to pull the bone strength down on all of these bones. I'm just going to check the others real quick. Those seem to be all fine. That one has a turnaround. This one does not need a turnaround. Well, maybe it does, because this one is going to be looking to the right. I'm going to test to see, and yeah, we've got the body but no head. So let's go ahead and attach the face. We're going to go ahead and attach it to this guy here. And then the hair needs to be linked to our bones. So I'm just going to grab that guy and grab the others points here and bind those. Move down to our next bone. Grab these points. I have a cat that's being very annoying right now. And I'm going to grab these points and bind these to these guys. Do you mind? And now I'm going to test my movement here. That works fine. This works okay. This one works okay, and those are acceptable. I'm going to come in here, I think, and adjust the head movement. I think the head is fine. I think it's the neck, though, that is the issue. So this one seems okay as well. So we'll check the neck, and that one forward is the problem. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, call this neck, just because it needs an action, and I'm going to say neck, and at 48 we're going to roll this guy down. And we're going to find the neck here. It's going to be hair and body, not an actual neck. So let's just click off of there and put these back where they go. So it's just really those moving wrongly. So I'm going to pull this up. Just roll these off like so. Be totally fine. Yep, I'll never see any difference there. And then of course the hair needs to do what it's supposed to. That's mostly okay, but I think I'm going to drop down this part kind of like so. I think that will be fine. Okay. I'm also going to put the face behind the body, but we're going to do that outside of the action. So put the face behind the body. That way when this moves, it moves behind the shoulder. Alright, so there and here. Now we're going to go back with neck and do another action just in case. I don't think we need it, but just make sure our bending is not causing any problems. And I don't think so, but let's be sure, and I'm going to go with the body here. You can see that it does affect some stuff, so I'm just going to pull some of these back down a little and just check this. I'm not mortified. Alright, I think that will be okay. I'm just trying to keep these kind of in line, so they're not just causing all kinds of mayhem as they move along. That is fine. The hair probably could use a little cleaning up right there. So let's just make sure that I think from the beginning we could probably turn that particular guy there into a rounded one. That way when it moves up here it is still round. I'm also going to bulk out the back of the hair slightly as it comes up. Just making sure that's all good, and I think also in the beginning this hair could be still already covering that area. That's probably okay. Then we're going to need to make a turn. So this will be a matter of getting all of those turned off. We were going to go and create another bone right here above the top. Call this turn. And I don't think we need to do many bone movements. A little bit. I'm going to show the label here, and we're going to create an action for this and not a smart bone dial. It's the same thing. One's just a more, there's a couple more automatic things, and a lot of these don't have it. I'm going to check and see if my chat window is here. Let me just find where that's going to be. Tools, blah, blah, blah. Where's my chat window? Supposed to be hanging out here. That way I can see if you guys are actually saying something. Chat right here. Alright, I do have the chat open if you guys have anything you'd like to say. Just pop that out there and keep it popped out. Come on now. Can't just keep it separate, huh? There we go. Alright, so if you guys have anything you want to say, I will say, hey guys. You guys can write there in the chat because I'm actually watching it live. Now for the turn, we're going to need to make it go this way. But see, I did something wrong here. So let's go ahead and go back and recreate this action, this bone altogether. And I am going to create a bone with nothing else selected. We'll call this turn. And what I forgot to do was to go into my bone constraints, set my angle constraints, and this one's going to be at 0 to 90. Okay. Now, when you do a smart bone dial, it basically sets this up for you as you go. It's essentially the same thing. So the turn now is going to consist of, I'm going to go back into it. When we get to frame 48, that means this hopefully will still work. This will come down to here, and I'm just going to double check that that's good. And then now we need to move our face and our other stuff. So the face is essentially going to move over layer wise, not stretch, but just move. And the hair is obviously going to move. I'm just going to kind of pull everything this way, and I need to now adjust a little more minutely here. These will pull over to the side some. I think this can move over and then leave these kind of there. And we probably want to adjust the body positioning slightly, as though we have shifted in the shoulders a little. So something like this is not bad. I think the hair should probably come in at this point a little earlier. So something like that. And then this here could be a little more higher up, maybe. Kind of checking how that flows. Maybe not so odd there. I think that works. And just make sure the body feels right. I think that's good. Cool. So all of these guys have their skeletons and animation and so forth controls done. Now we need to do the two main drummer ladies. These will have some facial stuff going on as well. I want to make sure that any of the stuff that we've got does work. So we've got a bit of hair. There's some lines missing from that. So we're going to open that up and look at hair right. That one's fine for now. Hair top R, that one's fine. So we need like the hair right here, the hair back. So evidently that has not been completely mounted to this. Alrighty, so how we're going to manage this is we're probably going to break this up. I'm going to go ahead and redo hair top. This one's going to be totally bound here. I think I've got that already layer bound, so I'm not going to worry about that. No, I guess I don't. So with this bone selected, these are already bound here. That's what we want. Hair top here, that's fine too. Hair right, this we're not going to need to do anything really with this. I can what do you call it, point bind that to, or I mean point animation that. Why don't we just do it though? Silly enough. I'm going to add some bones in here. Whoops. So if we add a few bones in here, like so. Not sure why I'm doing it, but hey, why not? So hair right, this is this piece. There's not a lot of points to control, but we're going to see if we can just get away with the ones we've got. And I'm going to select the bones, and then I'm going to select the points that control whatever. So these will control this. This bone here will be these, and so on. If you guys are watching, let me know. Say hey, ask me some questions. It's all good. Okay, so this bone will be these points here. We'll bind those, and then this bone will be for these, obviously. And then the one here will just be this endpoint to make it wiggle around. Totally works. We can test those after turning down the power of these bones, because let me tell you, that is way too much. So I'm going to go back here to my root there and just grab all these bones at once, and we can turn them down like so. Now we can come in here and test the bones movement individually. But I mean, obviously we're going to screw with the head a little bit at the moment, but I think that works just fine. That seems to work great, great, and great. We could have used a curver for this, if you guys know what those are, so that's a possibility. Test the neck here a little bit. It's a little bit weird, but there's not going to be much movement of that. It's going to be mostly the head, so this is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Cool. And let's go ahead. Now we can do the hair top, hair right, which is that piece. The head seems to be fine. The necklace is fine. I just want to make sure what's bound to what here. So I'm going to grab back here on our bone layer and see what's bound that all seems perfectly fine. We need to do some work on that, but we're not actually going to be lifting this arm at all. It's just going to be maybe more of an adjustment, if anything. I doubt it. This one's not really going to be moving either. Maybe we'd shift the arm a little bit, but that's it. We do have a point in this back of the hair that's doing some crazy stuff on its own. So I'm going to make sure that all of those points are connected to the layers and points and stuff they're supposed to, bones are supposed to be. So that one, see, says it's there and it should not be. In fact, the way I had this set up, or supposed to have this set up, is that everything should be connected to this, which is how I would have had it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these points. So these points here are connected to the top. Let's go ahead and just work methodically here. These are connected to those points are connected to that. Bind. We could probably connect these to the neck now here. So boom, and make sure that the neck points are something like these points. Bind. And then the next bone would be these guys. And that would be everything from here down. Just bind all that. Cool. So now when we move these, that all goes together. The arm does not move any of the other points we don't want. The neck still kind of moves this around, which I'm not entirely happy with. It's not a biggie. And the head just moves this. So now we need to make sure this side of the hair also works with these bones. So these here will be controlled by these. This bone will control these. And these here are going to be controlling. And let's just go ahead and pick that too. And then we can move the stuff. It seems fine. This seems better. And then this does what it's supposed to do. Anything that is not right here can be tweaked later on. And this was just so I could, control, the bone itself separately from everything else. So these could fling out, or not that it needed to, but we can. All right, so that one seems to be pretty good, except for the arms. I say let's try the right arm here. Her right arm, I think, is fine. I'm going to check the bones here. Seems that what I could fix is probably that. Not that this is going to be moving. It's just the idea of having that be correct. So I'm going to go back up to my bone layer for that. And we're going to pick, let's get rid of those keyframes. That bone is fine. We need the arm right here. And with that bone selected, we can now say that bone should be controlling these. No, I'm thinking that these should also be included in those, which should be this bone. Not bad. All right, so this will be all grouped together. And then the rest of this should be correct. So I'm going to double check that, make sure this now looks a bit better. Okay, fine. Got to make an action for that if we really wanted that to be right. I'm not horribly worried about it. Get this back on here. Could make an action for that B6 bone, which is her upper right arm. And when you move it this way, we don't want some of this wackiness happening. So I'm going to find that arm right layer and do this corrective point animation here. That way we get a better animation out of that if we need. I don't think there's a problem going the other direction, so I'm going to double check that real quick. This is just pretty normal. She's not going to move any more than that, so I'm not worried about it. This one is pretty wacky, so we'll go with this one, which is going to be the arm left, which will be in the back here. So arm left, pow, back to here, and let's fix, we're going to make that one, there we go. Do a motion for this one, and the corrective action, I should say, smart bone. And we are going to lift it up just to here. It's not necessary to go that far, but just say we can. And this is going to be the arm left that I didn't even spell right. And then, we'll pull down the points that will correct this from being so awful. And the body right here will also correct this one somewhat as well. I think we should just push that one back so that it has a little bit of movement, as though that's working. And I think that works. I don't see any problems there. So if we go back to the main line and now test out the entire figure, we should be able to move this around without any real issues. Not that we would be doing that, but you know what I mean. We could add target bones and all kinds of stuff, but it's not really necessary for something like this. Okay, I think that's all okay. So now we'll work on this light, but you know what we need to do for this one is I think we need a blink and eye looking. So to do that, we're going to come back, deselect everything, and I'm going to create an eye blink for her. We're going to call this blink, and we're going to show the label. We can make this a, let's make it a dial. That way we can just do both of them, 0 to negative 90 to positive 90. Do it over 48 frames. It's totally fine. So this will be the first half, and this one's going to be the close. So we're going to find her head, eye left or eye right, either one. Go with the right. Just move these guys into a closed way. The pupil, we'll worry about here in a second. So I'm going to start working the pupil. This will just go from here to here. You won't see anything behind that. So this will have to be pretty much open by the time we get there, so you won't see the squash. And by the time we're at 48, it will be completely squashed. And I just got to make sure that it stays hidden the whole time. Okay. And then the other eye. Let's see, eye right. This is the same eye. Okay, so the other eye. Eye left will also at 48 need to be closed. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Jack, I appreciate that. I was starting to do a remake of it in a much more modern way, and I just had some things come up. But that's something I would like to do even still, possibly, is do a remake of it. Do you do animation or effects or any of that kind of stuff yourself, or you're just a fan, or let me know. I'm just curious. Okay, so that will be here. I need to make sure that this doesn't look too squashed throughout, so I'm going to try and open the eye up as much as possible before, you know, it gets to that point. So let's see. Boom. Not bad. Okay, so now when these open and close, that should be fine. I'm also thinking of putting an eyebrow raise, so that when they look up, they can raise their eyebrow. At least these two. And this is drummer 6, correct? Or no? Okay, this is this one. So that's the blink. I'm going to test out our blink now. This is just the open and close blink. So we'll check this. Very good, very good. Maybe we need a wider version, so we'll take the blink 2, go to 48 frames here. Do the same thing, but just make the eyes wider now. When you do this stuff, you just want to affect the eye if you want that to have its own separate control. Pupil, we don't want to do pupils here, we just want the eye openings. It's not a blink anymore, it's just the widening. Okay, that works. And then back to our bone layer here, back out to the main line. And then now we need to move the eyes back and forth. So without anything selected, we add another bone. Really starting to think that these need to be a different color. So these will move them back and forth. This is just a quick and easy way of doing that. Select the bone. This will be I/L/R, and make sure we show the label. I'm just going to get rid of that and put a slash. And yeah, hard to see. And then we can do the action for it. So the bone, smart bone dial, 0 to 90 or -90 to +90. Perfect. And we're just going to go to her right. I'm just going to move the pupils. And we could do layer animation, but I think I'm going to do point animation. Sometimes you get yourself in trouble with that. So I'm just going to do point animation, grab this, and just pull it in this way. Grab the other pupil, and undo that, and make sure we grab all of these, and pull it this way. And then, of course, the other direction, like so, as far as I can go. And pupil left as far as we can go. Okay, that's it. So now when we come back up to our bone layer, we have both those controls that we can use now to open and close the eyes, make them wider, and we can also look left and right. Simple. The magic of animation. All right. So I also think that maybe the mouth needs to open. Like maybe she's a little concerned. So we'll just come down here to our bone layer again, deselect everything. make another bone. This will be for, we'll call this mouth open. It's just going to be a one-directional thing. So for this, instead of doing a complete dial, I'm just going to leave the mouth open. Make sure we open the show label. We're just going to create an action for this. Mouth open, okay. And then we're going to come over to bone constraints. I'm just going to put this at 48. You can do that whenever, but here we're going to say angle constraints, and we're just going to go -90, sorry, to 0. And that way we only have that needing to take care of it here. And we should have done that before. So I'm going to go back to the main line. See if this even works. It possibly won't. Also need to take off the power of it. But let's check to see if it even works. It does. Mouth open now. We're going to go into that action. Come over here to frame 48 and make sure that at frame 48 we are turned downward. This will be our mouth open. So we need either a second mouth, which might be the right way, or we're just going to stretch this stroke out. So I'm going to try that first just because it's easier. So let's go down here to mouth. And the jaw is going to have to drop open as well. So let's grab, let's see the mouth, where are my tools? We're going to need to make it wider, like so, and a little bit here again. The lip, and this may or may not work, so this is a whole like thing, but I'm just testing. It looks like it may. So I'm going to pull this down a little wider. You can actually pull the mouth down a little more too, because we don't necessarily want it going up. Let's see if I can round these off in any way. I'm not sure. This width could be a little less on this side, and it could also be pushed over more. This may or may not work, we'll see. And then of course the head is going to be controlling the jaw shape kind of thing. So let me find the head and its actual shape, and then we can just move these points down to accommodate that, including the highlight, I guess. Just see how that all works together. Not bad. I think the head shape still could be a little bit more down here. Let's see. I think that works for me. Cool. So back up to our main line. We can come in here and check what that's like from the drummer layer. I'm just gonna open the mouth. Eyes look back and forth. Oh my god, you guys seeing this? And then, holy moly. And to make this even easier, if we wanted to, you could add a whole nother dial here to make the whole expression happen based on one slider, but not necessary. Okay, so also I need to do a head turn here, and because I think it'd be kind of cool if she's looking a little bit over here, left and right, at the people, and then all of them were. And I think we need brows as well. So let's go ahead and make another dial. Let me just deselect all of them, all the bones. Make another bone at frame 0 on the bone layer. And this one will be maybe right here. We'll call this brow raise. We don't have to do separate brows. It's not like she's going to do a, the rock. I'm just going to say brows. This only needs to go up, so not even a very complex thing here. So we'll turn on the label for it and come back to we need an action. Just going to do a single action. So browse, boom, it's going to open up. We're going to go to our constraints here and select angle constraints and just make sure this does a 90 or negative 90, sorry, to a 0. That way it only needs to go the one way. And we are going to grab our thingy there and make it go down, which really should be going up, but same difference, because if you do this way it's down, this way it's up. That's how I normally do it. You could have laid it on its side and done this either way. And then we're going to go grab the brows themselves and just lift up at this point, frame 48. Just lift up the brows a little like so. A little more toward the center than anything. That way they will just do that. Perfect. All right. So now that's pretty much it except for the head turn. Pretty simple stuff. Back to the main line. And now let's get the good old head turn, which is the hardest part, of course, of all of it. I'm just going to, let's just do it up here because, you know, it's not going to be in the way of anything. We're just going to go turn. It's not a full body turn or anything. This is just for the head. And we're going to make sure the label's showing. And here we're going to create just a single action. Just going to kind of turn. It's not, you know, this one doesn't even need to turn. Oh, yeah, you know what? To look back and forth. Yeah, it will. So let's do, instead of that action, let's do a dial. That's where you can do the both ways. So I'm going to do bone, smart bone dial, negative 90, positive 90, fine. So the first one's going to go here. We're going to make her turn to her right. And with that, the easiest way is going to be, I think I'm going to tilt her head up along this. So a little bit like so. A little bit of this happening to kind of counter that. You'll see what I mean, where it kind of, when she turns her head this way, it's going to kind of drop that hair down, maybe just a little bit, maybe not that much. And then now let's get the face pieces going. So I usually like to start with the eyes because they kind of are going to tell you what the rest of the face is going to do. I'm just going to go probably with layers here and just move this eye and rotate it slightly. The pupil, same thing. I don't care about it rotating really. Maybe to here. That's scary. Then the eye left can be maybe to here. A little bit of rotation on it, and maybe even enlarging it some because it is going to be a bit bigger. I'm gonna have to, you know, just work with this 100 times to get it right, but you get the idea. I should have really centered all of these layers to where their centers are the right in the right place, because if they're not, this is a really important thing to do with animation, but not necessarily here. But we'll do it just to be safe. The nose now should obviously be in the middle of this, but this is going to be tricky because the nose is a profile nose. So what I'm going to have to do is pull it over and try to flatten it out a little bit. Not tons, but just enough to kind of make the difference here. Let me make this smaller. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know. So that's, you kind of gotta mess with this a bit and look at it and see, well, that's good, that's not good, you know. I think that's okay. Maybe drop this part down slightly. Let's get the brows in the right spot. What's up, brow? Get this going more like so. Get this one. So I watched the worst movie in the world last night, Ice Road Vengeance. Don't waste your time. Okay, let's just grab this and straighten these now. More like so. And the mouth. So like I said, you got to do all the basics first and then go back and fix stuff and, you know, see what needs to be done, blah, 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 because it's kind of hard to do it all. You can't really do it all at once, so you got to kind of tweak it and then decide what sucks. All right, so head, let's do the shape now, which is definitely going to make a huge difference. Oops, not the whole thing. Let's grab points. So this is going to go over. This is going to go over. This is going to go over. Let's just see where we're at. It's not perfect, but it's that's not bad. Eyebrows are a little odd. They're a little odd to begin with, but I think what I'm going to do is take this nose line and shorten that, because that's the thing it's been bothering me from the beginning. So if we just take this nose line and hide that little sucker, I think when this comes around, that'll look a lot nicer. I think also less of this probably be better. Okay, and then we'll do the highlight for the face here. Just grab our magnets and just sort of shift some of this back in. Cool, and the shadow should shift over a bit. Not entirely though, because I mean we're not changing the lighting coming from the fire, but we need to do this according to like what the face shape is. That makes sense. So let's just see. That looks pretty good now. The hair, pretty important. So let's go ahead and look at the hair top. Get this sort of pushed back this way. Definitely the center. And then we'll grab the left one. Hopefully it won't give us any trouble. All right, I think that's fine. And then this right hair piece is a little weird, so we'll just shift it over now. Here, right. Just move it as a layer, I think. Don't think during that turn we really need to worry about where the bones are. I think that works just fine. I think the face is getting a little shorter though, so let's go ahead and find it again. Move some stuff around. Yeah, but I appreciate you liking the time of the turning. That means a lot. Okay, let's get the highlight now. That's what's messed up. Down to where it goes, like so. And now the shadow. This piece back. Oops, not that. This piece here, where it goes. Yeah, I can live with that. So now we have a head turn, slight head turn. I think that works really well. Might even take that highlight and just go ahead and pull it across the face. It obviously reflects off the face differently than it does the hair, so I think that's totally fine that that continues with the head like that. Okay, also I think our eyes are a little too close together, so we'll go with left eye and left pupil. Move those out just a little bit, so just pick the pupil and eye and try to shove those outward slightly. I think that's much better. And then, of course, her cheek line should not stay still. So let's grab it. It's a lot of very small tweaks and things you have to do, and especially with a head turn. It's very tedious. Then when you get it, it looks great. So pull this up here like that. All right, I think I can live with that. It's not perfect, but it's not bad at all. Cool. All right, so back to the main line. We don't need to go the other direction on the head turn. Now we just need to worry about this last girl, I think. And let's go ahead and close this up. That was drummer. Let's just get drummer 2. And worry about her stuff. Cool. So I am going to test what we've got. I've got the head moving, basic, the neck basic, the body doesn't need any more than that. I think, in fact, the only thing that needs an action here is this arm. That one needs something. There's something going on with the hair. Well, we're not really going to be moving that arm, but I'm going to just make it right either way. So within that arm, this is going to be arm, upper, and that is her left. We're going to make an action. I only have to move it the one way, so I'm going to pull this back here, grab the arm, move it that way, and then try to find the appropriate layers for it. Arm, where are we at? It's arm right, it says. I think that might be backwards. Yep, that's backwards, the labeling. Just because I had to flip her around. So here, we'll take this one and you arm, and just come in and adjust these points. See what happens now. I think that works pretty good. Also, we need to adjust the highlight and shadows. So the shadow being weird that it's at the top, but it's where it's supposed to be, given where the firelight is. The highlight here obviously is wrong because it needs to be visible. Okay, that works for that arm. We're not really going to see much else of that. And then we need to make sure our head movement, I think the head movement is fine. We need to start locking these in with the bones as far as the hair. So we're going to come back out and go to hair top. That one is, as far as I know, completely bound to that other bone. Yes, that one is fine. Hair top is fine. Hair strand, this is the one that needs work. We could do this with bones, but I think just given the nature of what it is and the shot, I'm just going to do this with standard point binding. We're going to do this bone here. It's going to be bound to these. Let's do these points. And then we're going to do this bone being bound to, I think I want to do this, because the thing is when she turns her head is what I'm worried about. It's probably going to be fine. Just going to go ahead and bind it here. And then these rest of these, we'll just bind them to the body for now. Probably not how it should go, but we'll see if it works. And if it does, we'll leave it. All right. And so that was the hair, that bit of hair. So the brows, all this is bound, but all these need to be adjusted once we do the thing. Let me just check here on the rest of this hair. Anybody? Hair right. Where'd you go? Right there. This we're gonna bind. Break it up the way we did the other. So this is gonna be bound here. This bone will be bound with these points. These should probably be here. And we'll see. And then this bone should be bound with these for now. Oops. These for now. Not sure why I have this like this, so I'm gonna redo those particular points. Let's just say let's just put these there. That's fine. I'll probably change them though. Just thinking that I will. I think the hair is fine other than that far back piece. So we'll check it. This gets bound to here. These and this. These are bound to this one. And then this one gets these. Oops. I don't know why I missed that last point every time. It's like a psychological block. Okay. So it's not saying the actions are correct, but the hair is bound. Back hair. Oh, that hair still isn't bound. Got it. So that seems to work. That seems to work. I don't have a problem with any of those. It's this left side hair right here that is not bound. So let's fix it. That bone should be bound to these. This bone should be bound to this one at least. And yes, I know I should be using my shortcuts for all these tools. Just hitting B when I want to swap to that tool, and then hitting the I when I want to swap to this one, and it would save a lot of time. I suggest you all do that. Alright, so this goes like so. See, this one doesn't work for me. Wow. So I'm going to select this bone and bind these. I don't know why that one wasn't. I think it was an accident. So we'll check this again now. The head controls just the uppers. The neck, fine. And the body gets the rest of these. So that works perfectly fine. If I want to adjust anything about it, we can. But right now I'm more worried about the, what you call it? Well, this arm will do too. But I'm more worried about the head turn and stuff. But let's do this arm bone just because it needs to be done. And it's already bound, but we need an action for that upper arm bone. So we're just going to go to the bone layer for this character. Create an action. B9, I don't care what it's called personally. And then it's just a corrective one. And then we're going to lift this up to, you know, what it would be, 9. And hope it's B9. And then we're going to find the arm layer. I'm going to close this head layer up. Arm right, arm left. I forgot these are backwards because of the flip I had to do. And then we can put this one. Find that point that would help. Like so. Grab the shadow of it. And pull it down. Or it works still. These are masked off, you can see. So that way when it comes out, I can stay masked here. And mostly work. I think also the body could definitely get a little bit of a flex there. Right as that comes up. Oops, not that. This could do like so. We get that shadow of the arm corrected again. Yeah, it looks a little better. All right. It's got a stylized vibe going on. I think it works for it. Cool. So now we're going to go back into the body turn. And to do that, we're going to have to create some dials here. Let's just go back out to the main line and start creating some stuff. I'm going to make sure we're not selecting any bones. We're going to select a bone, and let's do the I don't think this one needs a mouth open. I think it does need an eye shift though. So let's go ahead and do a blink and an eye shift. So this is going to be a blink for her, and we'll just make sure we show the label. This is going to be a dial, so we just go bone dial. There we go. Perfect. And say OK. This is a blink, so when it's down, I want this to go the other way though. So this is going to be called, this is going to be the wide position. So let's go to the eyes of this character, Laura Mars, and we're going to go to head and eye left, eye right. It doesn't matter which one. We're going to widen the eyes for this particular position. Eye right, same difference. Okay. And that works for that. The blink 2 now is going to be the ones that get closed at frame 48. Let me just make sure on the blink that I have that correct. Yeah, good. So blink 2, this will be back on frame 48. These are ones that get closed. So we need to not only close the eye, but also squish the pupil so that it looks like it's being closed in there as well. And I like to just keep this top as close to that as possible so it gets less visible squish. There we go. Okay, and then the pupil left. Well, let's not do that. Let's do the eye left. Back at 48 again. Make this one also closed. And the pupil now closed too. So about halfway through, I'll make it as unsquished as possible. Okay, works for me. And then we'll come back out to the main line. We need to do a left and right. That's just a matter of back to the bone layer and deselecting everything, adding a new bone, probably moving that over. And we'll go IL/R, show label, and that's fine. Is that a dial? I sure hope so. Okay, we're getting this one to be bone, make smart bone dial. Oops, there we go here. Yep. And then 48. This will be looking that way. So we need to go in, grab the old pupils. It's okay to do these as layer animation. And the pupil right, not the eye. There we go. Get that way. Cool. And then the eye the other direction, 48. We're going to go pupil right this way as far as we can without coming over the edge. And same here. Okay, perfect. Done. This is how fast this can be done if you guys just, take some time to set it up. Granted, I'm rushing through it, but this is how fast it can be done. If you check this out now, you can blink, widen. Not sure why they're squishing down, but I think, oh, that was just a glitch in the matrix there. But the left and rights do not work. Not sure why yet. Let's go ahead and put it on a frame that's animatable, and that's probably why. Yep, perfectly fine. And the ups and downs. Perfect. Okay, so get rid of all of our keyframes there. Go back to frame 0. And now I want some brows going up and down for this one as well. So we're going to deselect all the bones. We're going to make another bone here for, I'm just going to go right here. Brows. And this one's just going to be up. So it's just going to be a regular standard action. So I'm just going to go browse, boom, right there to 48. And while they're up, like, oh, I didn't give it parameters. Hang on. Undo. We'll just give this some constraints. Sorry. Angle constraints. This is going to be 0 to 90. Perfect. And then now we can go in here and do our browse. Just want to make this a dial. Cancel. This is just going to be an action. My bad. Browse. Constraints should still be there. 48. We're going to roll this over with this guy. Boom. And now we're going to lift the eyebrows up. We're going to lift that up. Grab the other eyebrow. Do the same thing. Okay, I think that works. They're quite concerned eyebrows. Huh? Yeah, perfect. Once again, I want to come back to this nose and just kind of cut off anything extra. I think I did it on this one already. It looks like it. Okay, and I don't think we need a mouth on this. I think the mouth opening on this one is just fine. So now we're going to do a head turn, which is the hardest part. So now we're just going to come back, deselect all of our bones. I'm going to go right on the top like I did with the other one and just create a bone right above everything. Call this turn. This is all for like a 3-second shot, guys. Keep that in mind. 1 3-second shot. Show label. This is going to be, yeah, we'll make a dial out of it. So let's go with smart bone dial. Fine. Yep. Close. We're only going to really worry about turning the one direction, though. And that's what makes it beautiful. Go in the one direction. Nobody got that. All right, so here we're going to move the eyes first. Let's move this one. I'm going to move the layers this time. So this will just shift over. The pupil probably should have moved it with it. So let's try that. Let's go back and we're going to go eye and pupil. Move them together. And then the eye and pupil here. I'll have to decide on how far later. The mouth. The nose. This is the one that needs reshaping. If you guys remember. So this will need to kind of pull here, flatten out a bit. The old magnet is our friend when it comes to this kind of stuff. Okay, the brow right. This will be made quite a bit smaller. This one will be made quite a bit bigger. There we go. Let's get that pupil as well. Take the layers, let's make that bigger. Because they should be. I think the pupil doesn't need to be bigger though, does it? Let's just make it go back a little bit. Okay, and now the face shape itself, obviously a big deal. Where's my head layer? Right here. Pull these back. This obviously can go here, more like so. And let's get the, I'm going to start testing this because I can't tell. Okay, I think that eyebrow, those are wrong. So the brow right needs to be squished a bit more. That's probably okay. The other brow, though, needs to be a little more, maybe like that. The mouth could be a little longer on the one side. Like I say, the head shape is really going to dictate kind of what's happening here. Let's get the mouth shifted over just a tiny bit more because it doesn't feel centered. The eyes may be too close together again, and then of course the hair really needs some work, so let's go ahead and start there. Not only is it shifted over, it is a different shape pretty much. So we'll just start chucking this back to the center. And I always test, you know, do a lot, like every time you move something, just move it, test it, see if make sure it's in the right place. I think that's going okay. The eyebrows are a little weird, but let's get the other hair top mostly in place anyway. Something like this. Just to see. I think that's working. Let's get the front hair. This part is kind of killing me, so yeah. Let's pull this over. This could all go out quite a ways. I think that as this pulls back, that might trail up on the shoulder a little bit. We gotta find out just how much of the face this is gonna clear from. This really shouldn't be curving up this way, though. That's a little odd. This is really probably going to be dragging behind now that I think about it. Let's just see if that works better. Yeah, but it doesn't need to get shorter. So I'm just pushing stuff around to see. In fact, that should be going down more than anything. Okay, then let's get the back. Let's see where we at here, right. Here, right. This could be now bunching back under there correctly. It looks like a neck. Actually should be behind the neck. And the neck is super fat is super chunky. Yow. Looks a little funky. And super funky and chunky. Where's that hair now? That hair should be in the back, so that is you. Nope. You. That is fine. That's just a cover up. And then the hair right should be over like this. Just making sure the turn. I don't like the fact that my neck is turning when my head is. Let's fix that. That shouldn't be what's happening. Okay, that's fine. And the hair, this one should be pretty much moving in or not. Left behind like that maybe. That's probably okay. Problem with this hair in the back is that it was too far up to begin with. So that when this turns, it just needs to go back a little. Let's get these highlights because that's something else that's throwing me. That is all good, but the face, shadow, and highlights are messed up. Alright, so that's probably okay. In comparison, I think that's fine. And then the highlight needs to be back on the face. Okay. So let's see. Much better. This hair needs to be fixed here because it's getting smaller or riding up or something. So let's say hair top left needs to actually be coming down and puffing out slightly. And then the hair back there actually should be hanging out just a little bit more, and then the top needs to be corrected there to match that. Let's see. Okay, but the eyebrows now need fixing. Because they do some weird shifting. Okay, and that eye gets a little too big. Yep. Eye and pupil. It also raises up. Maybe it needs to just slightly. I think the other eye needs to move over slightly. Also clears it from that nose a little bit more. Now, I can live with that. Okay, back to main line. All right, what we got here? Yeah, I had to get out of here and go eat lunch. I was starting to pass out. The highlights and the shadows are done by masking, and I can show you. I have a whole tutorial on it, but basically, let me close up some layers, and I will show you specifically. Pretty simple. Once you get the hang of it, it's real quick and easy. But I'm just going to make a new layer on the top here. We'll call this, I'm just going to put head. It's just going to be like a ball. But if I make like a ball right here, let's give it a better color, more of the middle of the road kind of color here. Turn on the stroke. Let's give it like a 1 or 2. That'll be important. And let's make this kind of a mid-level, like so. Okay, this basically would be the head, let's say. Now, if you want to add highlights and shadows, you can. And what I do is make a new layer. This one will be called shadow. Spelled incorrectly, of course. And the shadow, let's say, is going to be kind of at the bottom down over, you know, kind of along this side over here. And you'll be like, well, what is he doing? That makes no sense. Just bear with me. We're going to select that shadow, turn off the stroke, where there's no stroke, and we're going to take that color and just make it darker than the original to make a shadow-like color. But you notice there's a problem. This is all outside and ugly. You'll see. If we take the head and shadow, the circle and the shadow layer, select them both, right-click, and go into Group with Selection. Now we have them in a folder. We'll call this Head again. Within this head layer here, or folder, double-click, bring up its properties. You now have a masking tab. We'll click on Masking. We'll go to Hide All. Watch what happens here. Boom. It cuts it off inside. Now it's still there. Those lines are still outside of it and everything, but they're just masked to that area. Also, to bring your strokes back, you just double-click on that bottom layer. You'll have that masking tab, and you just leave everything alone and click on Exclude Strokes. And it will make sure that everything in between the bottom layer and that top folder layer that you stick in here gets masked and will retain its strokes. So if you wanted to put a highlight in here, just add a new layer again inside the folder. We're going to call this Highlight. And then you'll come up with a color for your highlight. Let's say, you know, something brighter than the actual body color here, right? And I'm just going to turn off auto stroke to make sure we just have, you know, no strokes on that. And you just stick your highlight where you're wanting it to be. Something like this, let's just say. It's probably not very well done, but you get the idea. We can move these around to make them a little better. And so within this, let's say you wanted your highlight, though, just go Control P to peek those points, Control P. Let's say you wanted this highlight to see it won't extend beyond that edge. Okay, that's what I was trying to say in a very stuttery, jittery way. Let's see if I wanted to make that highlight, you know, cut off. You can just drag it outside, and now you don't have to worry about the tediousness of getting this right every time, perfectly lined up against that edge every time you animate it. Because as you move, let's say, this head layer around, See, it's going to cut those things off because it is masked. You just have to move, like if you were to move this, you just have to go in here and now and find your highlight and pull your highlight back down. You know, you got to animate it still. But the beauty is you don't have to worry about it being perfect. You can just kind of pull this close too. You don't have to worry about it being perfect because it will perfectly cut off based on the mask that you've done here. So it's very handy, and it's real quick to do highlights and shadows that way. And you can soften the edges of these if you want. Obviously, you know, like if you had your shadow here, you just go to your style, and when you have it selected with the shape selection, you can come in here to the effect and put soft edge, and now you can blur essentially the edge of that shadow. Now have a blurred shadow and a blurred highlight if you want. Even same difference, you know, just select that one instead and go here and select your effect and put soft edge, say how much you want it softened to, and boom, there you go. I have soft edges on those. I like the hard edges myself because it looks like kind of like that Scooby-Doo. What gets heavy on the system mainly, I've noticed, is this soft edge type of stuff. It's like an effect. But as you're working, you just come down here, this little bottom row, and turn off shape effects, or turn off masks or whatever you want to while you're working. So you can turn off all your masking, you know, whatever, and it just handles it. So anyway, that's how you do it. And that's what I've done on every one of these characters. There are 6 characters in the same scene here, all with bones animation. I'm basically on a I am using a this is an i9 processor, and I am using a Quadro card, but it's a Quadro. It's the lowest grade one, RTX 4000. So it's like an older RTX Quadro. But you know, if you have a 3090 on up, there's no worries about it. You know, in fact, I'd probably trade this out for a 3090 just because it does video better as well and all that kind of stuff, even more so than the Quadro. The Quadro's really geared toward 3D and stuff, so you know, graphics. But yeah, if you have anything like a 3090 on up, you're fine. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I like to do things. It's a painterly background, and then I lay the cell animation looking cells, you know, composite it over the top in a separate layer. That's why you can see every one of these people is a separate figure laid over the top of the painting background, which is the way they did it, you know, back in the day. So it's a painterly look. So all of this works. I need to do the fire now. So with that, I'm going to say that's the background right here, just the entire background. The fire I have separated out in some rock layers. They're not real detailed or anything. This front log kind of layer, the fire itself, which is just a shape, and the fire logs, which is going to be another layer of the lit inside layer, kind of the rocks behind them. So now the fire, though, I'm going to use liquid shapes for. Hopefully I can remember how to do this and not look like an idiot. But I'm going to take this fire layer. It's going to be multiple layers. But also something I can recommend is when you have a shape like this, you see how my center is way up here? Get your origin and stick it in the middle. That way when you click on your shape, it's only around your object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some shapes and use those as liquid shapes to drive the shape and animation of the fire. So if you haven't seen how that's done, it's pretty cool. Stick around. So what I'm going to do first, and hopefully, like I said, I can remember how to do this, is I'm going to make a star shape here, and one here, and one here, and one here. Those can obviously all be moved. And what they're going to do is they're going to break up and cut up the fire. So let me grab the points. This one here, grab the points of this one here. And I really like to make them to where the points will come across part of the base, but will kind of really chop into the flame portion. of the fire, and the more you have it being chopped up, the more pieces basically of fire you're going to get, which is pretty cool. Hopefully, like I said, this will work the way I'm intending. We will see. So with the liquid shapes, I believe they're supposed to be all in the same layer. This one with the flame here, that shape is going to be on the top. So what I'm going to go do is select shape, and you have these little guys right here. I'm going to select this shape. You can see this one is considered normal. And then all the rest of these guys, boom, 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 and boom, are going to be considered add shapes. And I'm completely wrong, evidently. Crap. Okay, so that's not working. Let me see here. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to undo that. It's like the last one you select, I think, is the one that determines the others. So let's find these guys, and then I'm going to select the last one, and then add, I think. I cannot remember for the life of me, darn it. Because they have to be in the same layer. And let me just... So there's also a blend that when you turn it up, this will also tell you if it's working. Evidently they are not. So this first one, in my... Okay, there's partly. It's partly working now. So these guys... Oh man, I've messed this up, but it is partly working. So let's grab all 4 of these and make sure that they are all the same. And this one is the same. Let me just see. Blend. Not. Okay. I can't remember for the life of me how to do this. 3, 4. This one. Boom. Blend. Nope. Boom. Blend. Gosh dang it. So I'm pretty sure this is how I went. These were all blended together. And then this one. I don't know why this is working. Isn't working. Okay. These, first of all, are not supposed to be filled. I'm going to pull that out. And we're going to look at these as shapes. Not sure what's going on here. So we have this. This is a normal shape. That is what it is. So I don't remember how I did that, but I made this first one normal. But then these are all supposed to be minused from that one. So I'm not sure on that again. So I'm going to select all these guys. Make these maybe minus shapes. So we go here, and that's not working. Cool. I love it. What am I doing wrong? Let's say just call them fills. Create, maybe. And then this last guy is this. Yes, I don't understand what I'm doing. Anyway, these stars turn. They cut out the shapes of the other ones. Yeah, I really should look it up because I honestly cannot remember for the life of me how to do this. So I don't know that I can broadcast the tutorial on my screen legally. I can't remember. Let's see, which one is what? I kind of like the Chad guy's way of doing it.
Star, go to frame 24.
It acts and looks like this. I just can't remember which ones come first. So
And move it over so that we have the star.
yeah, we've got that.
Touching the original.
So
But we can also set this to add, subtract, or clip. And in addition, we can do what's called blending.
yeah.
Let's just take a look real quick. With this star selected, if I come up and choose add, you can see that nothing is really happening. But if I come in and choose subtract,
So that's what I want. So I believe that with this star selected, these need to be subtractive. And then this guy should be add. It's so close. It's so close. And I think these other stars should not have fills and so forth. So, but this is going to be kind of a thing. So I'm going to make sure that on my settings here, I also, and you have to do it in the quick settings, I think. So right click and do quick settings and make sure that paths are they appear. And don't know why they're not showing up. Let's just, this is so confusing. I think these might need to all be separate shapes. So create. I think I might have them all as the same or something. So create. Now we'll go back here and check it again. The fact that they're all the same color is confusing as well. So I'm just going to grab all these and change their color to something like, I don't know, orange, blue. And you can make these blend colors too, which is crazy. Okay, so these guys are going to be negative, and they're not. Okay, I don't know what's up with that. And they're not working. I'm going to save just in case this gets wonky. But this guy should be regular, I think. See, this is what I don't understand. Why is this one now blended, you know, and the others aren't? And where did the other ones go, you know? Let's just turn that off for now. Turn these off for now. These here, I think, should be negatives. So that's a negative. That's a negative. That is, and that is. And then this one is, there we go. I don't know how I did it, but it works now. Yeah, it's always something fake. So basically you can see what it's done to my my shape here. If I go back into the shapes, which I don't know how I can't see the, oh, how annoying. So I need to be able to see the stars. I need to be able to see my paths and stuff. And this is pretty annoying, as you can understand. Why can't I see them? Don't know. You can see them here. And I thought they were already created, so I'm not sure why. I mean, I can click in an area and kind of see them, but that's not really helping. Oh, I see. Here we go. So I can select this guy, and you can see as I turn it, it breaks up my fire. Very, very cool. So what you want to do is kind of do like a, I don't know, I'm going to do a rotation from, let's say, frame 1 here. Frame 48. Also, but I'm going to do it like a complete, dagnabbit, complete rotation, I hope. Sometimes this doesn't want to go all the way around. See, I was just doing that? That is annoying. Lord. Okay. You get my point, though, I hope. I'm just really being very bad at this right now. I've done this 100 times, but all of a sudden... So I want to go about 99% of the way around. And by just doing this, it doesn't actually let you do that, because it'll just move a little bit from here to there. I don't know why that interpolation is happening that way. I kind of want it to be absolute, and I don't remember how to set it. Angle can't change. Highly annoying. Let's go with layer, angle. That's doing all of them because it's the entire layer, which we absolutely don't want. Just want the object itself. Just the points. And anyway, it's getting me a little annoyed. I ate, but now I'm tired. So if I go maybe halfway, and I come around, do it again, maybe go halfway. This is really annoying and tedious. Again, and go halfway. Not going halfway, but you know, a portion at a time. It kind of works, but then it stops. So all you have to do is select at the end, right click, and do a cycle. And you could say absolute 2, relative 46. I'm going to leave it at absolute and just see. You could do this in, obviously, in 2s or whatever, but now it should just keep rolling through your entire animation. See, there's a little skip, but I'm not worried about that skip because there's going to be like 4 of them, you know, jumping around and stuff. So yeah, the liquid shape order stuff really throws me, and I don't know why. Also, this cycling, just a rolling wheel, I don't know why it's so dang difficult. It shouldn't be, but maybe it's just me. All right, so we'll do another one here, and we have this guy moving. We can do the next, you know, maybe faster, and maybe the next even, you know, faster to break up than that, and then whatever works. And then of course we can cycle it as well, and just use the standard, and then you'll get, you know, I don't know what's happening there. Oh Lord, I don't remember doing any of that. It's becoming a day. Okay, so this dude got us a keyframe. Yes, yes. Here, we'll throw another one. Make sure those. See, I don't know why it's doing that. Somehow I'm turning it inside out, scaling it when I'm not sure, but I'm getting frustrated with it at this point. So I need to be able to finish this though. So I mean, I'm totally going to do it, but evidently not in the happiest way. It's kind of annoying, but you get it. I've done this tons before, but it has been a minute since I have. So it's like curvers. If I had to use a curver right now, I'd be like, I mean, I'd know how, but see, why is it scaling? I don't know why. There's no scaling that I have on that. So, and that scaling is happening in between each one of those, like it's interpolating between my keyframes. No idea. I did nothing scaling wise. So, yeah. Let's put that here. I'm going to actually try and go halfway around. Did it even work doing that? No, it doesn't. See? Why is it scaling? If you can answer that one. Yeah, you can't rotate the layers because they have to be all in the same layer. You have to select the points and do point animation, because otherwise the liquid shapes doesn't work. They all have to be in the same layer. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with the scaling now. No idea. But I'm pretty annoyed with that. So yeah. Let me take the I'm gonna try and take off the cycling of the first star first, and then cycle them all at the same time, and see if that maybe helps with that issue. So once I'm done, I mean. So we put a keyframe on this dude here. I'm gonna go ahead and go to 12 and kind of put a quarter of the way around. Go around here, go a quarter of the way around. This could very well be because I had it cycling already, and it's all within the same layer, and it doesn't want to do that. So now we look, and nope, still scaling. There's no reason for that. And you can't put them in different layers because you can't do liquid shapes in multiple layers. The liquid shapes affect each other within the same layer. So yeah, that's rather annoying. Don't know where that don't know where that scaling is coming from, but it's ruining my day. All right, so let's try maybe another one. Just kind of see. Yeah, it scales every time. Huh. That makes no sense. All right, it's time for a break. Thanks for hanging out. I will sort this out, or I'll come back and sort it out later on while viewing it, while streaming it. Sorry. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. Appreciate you watching.